It's half time.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Halftime Oranges. Clayton, thank you for joining us today.
Always a pleasure.
What is Halftime Oranges about? It's two dribblers who are tragic Dragon fans. Both should have been immortals. We're not too sure what for. But we're going to review, preview, talk about footy, our passion, what we love.
Round one footy. It's back,
It's back. Hey, have you told your wife for the next 32 weeks, no need to book anything on the weekends?
Well, it's already started, mate, because during the week, obviously, NRL 360's been back on. So I've been watching that over night time, and it's just been, the household's been pretty quiet. She's been off doing her own thing and at home, and then, so I get to watch 360, but you can tell.
You can tell?
You can tell. How's your week, mate? How wet has it been?
Mate, it's, I think Noah's Ark.
I've seen Noah and his Ark a couple of times,
Yes.
but Jesus, shout out to those people that have suffering with the floods and so forth. But shit, I can't believe, is there much more water left in the sky?
There can't be, surely not.
Christ, I've been alive 50 years and I've never seen so much rain.
Yes.
I've never seen so much water. I read something last night. We've had 16 days straight of rain.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So good breakup of summer apparently, just to get out of summer.
Wow.
So don't forget you can follow us on YouTube, which you can see our melons this week. Belvedere sorted out the technical issues. We're back. Shout out to all our viewers. You can also follow us on Facebook, and it's not too late to join the Halftime Oranges tipping competition for 2022.
Get amongst it.
They can be found on our Facebook page.
Pardon me?
It's free to join, and the winner, $100 Dan Murphy voucher at the end of the year. How good's that? You celebrate your winnings.
Always love $100 from Dan Murphy's.
Who are you wearing today?
Mate, I've kept up to the tradition. I'm wearing the red V. We haven't been beaten, even in the women's.
In the women's, yes.
Haven't been beaten in the women's, haven't been beaten in the men's since I've put the red V on. So I'm going to continue.
And it's still autographed?
Still, same blokes have still signed it.
Right, okay. How good's that?
You'll find it hard to believe, but the same people have still signed it.
I'm wearing the mighty Western Suburbs Magpies.
How good is that? Tommy would be very proud.
Yes.
It is a bit of a not retro, but it is a bit of a splash out.
I think it might have been
updated,
like a Sevens jersey.
I was going to say, is it a
Nines
Nines jersey or a set? Look, you're probably right. It's a Sevens Western Suburbs jersey.
Yes. So, but
it's not the typical Western Suburbs Victor Magpies.
No, but shout out to all our Magpie listeners.
Should still be there.
Exactly right. So we'll touch on a bit of NRL news, and we'll probably touch on these more when we look at each game. But Jared Croker, the great Raiders stalwart, has been dropped.
I did see that, mate, but like you said, we'll probably go through the teams and have a look at that with who the Canberra Raiders have picked in the centres and that. Yeah, but a bit of a surprise there, I suppose, that,
yes.
with Jared Croker, and there's a couple of others there. Adam Reynolds for his new club, the Brisbane Broncos,
yes.
is not there this week. I'm not sure if it's a heartstring or because they're playing the Rabbits.
The Rabbitohs, yes.
So obviously the NRL put their heads together and said, let's get the Broncos to play the Rabbits first week back, and then the airs just disappeared out of the balloon because Adam Reynolds is not playing now. I'm not sure if it's because he's a cat. I seen Jai Arrow's interview during the week, and they asked him the same question: what do you think about Adam Reynolds not playing? And he said he's just he's an absolute cat. So
wow.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like they said, it was COVID, but he's supposed to be out of COVID today.
Yes. And
play Friday tomorrow. When we're recording this, but yeah, I don't know, mate. Is he just
scared?
Well, could be. I'm not sure, but mate, they've tipped all their eggs into one basket there with him, and I know it's a long season, but
yeah, all the hype too around it. So
home game for him and everything. You know what I mean?
Scotty Drinkwater, who I rate highly, is not in the halves for the Cowboys.
Yeah, well, when we get to the Cowboys lineup, and I think I mentioned a couple of weeks ago on the podcast. Someone was going to miss out there because obviously they were playing the hammer at fullback, which I think is good, and then Val Holmes is in the centres, which he's been going well. They've obviously bought Chad Townsend up there for $1 million, and he's not going to miss out. And then Tommy Dearden's a 6, so someone was always going to miss out. I would have thought it might have been Tommy Dearden.
I did see a stat though on Drinky there that he missed the most tackles last year.
What, in the whole competition?
In the whole competition.
Really?
So 2 to 5 after that were forwards, but yeah, he was number one, missed tackles.
Shit, and he would have played a bit of time at fullback there too.
Which is interesting too, because James Maloney sort of made a career out of missing tackles, but won games on the other end.
Competitions, didn't he?
Yeah, so that might have had something to do with it.
Is he on the outer? Don't know.
And the other thing, Nathan Cleary out for the champs.
Yeah, so there was always going to be a bit of speculation with his shoulder and his reconstruction and that over the season. I think Penrith knew all along that he was going to miss a couple of weeks.
It is a long season too.
That's right. You don't want to be up. I know they've got to defend their title and then they've got to be up early and so forth, but Sean O'Sullivan's obviously, which we'll talk about when we get to the Penrith Manly game, but he won't let them down. But Cleary's a big loss for him. I see that Penrith were originally the favourites in Sportsbet, and then Cleary's out. Once the team list Tuesday come out, Cleary's out. O'Sullivan's in, Manly's all of a sudden become the favourite. So he plays a big part there. One
thing I did read, which is interesting, of all the games this week, there's only 2 halves combinations that are played together before, which is this morning. Manly with DCE and Kieran Foran, and Parramatta with Moses and Dylan Brown. Yeah, really? So all the rest of...
What about the other one with the Roosters? So Keary and Walker have never played together. And Keary and Radley, they said...
No, a long time since they've played
together. A long time since they've played together, yeah.
So they would have played together grand finals.
Probably, that's right. But that's what I thought too. I'm thinking, hang on, they would have played grand finals together.
I know we are a footy show podcast, but it'd be remiss of us to not mention the passing of the great Shane Warne. It's terrible news. Like it's one of them things that
you know where you are.
Warnie's supposed to live forever.
That's exactly what I said. He's obviously, we grew up with him and so forth, and he made Test cricket what it is today. You know, he made Test cricket exciting. You know, I remember when Warnie was bowling, like it was different in the one dayers or 2020, but when Warnie was bowling in Test match, you didn't leave the lounge room because you just wanted to watch him because you knew something was going to happen. You know what I mean? And he, like you just said, mate, you just think blokes like that are going to live forever. You know, I mean, it was a little bit for me. It was like one of those, you knew where you were when you found out. I mean, it was like Steve Irwin. You knew.
Even it was like Kobe Bryant. Kobe put a sports phone on it. Like hey, that's not supposed to happen.
That's right. You know, you just think that blokes like that, and like it's obviously a shock. He wasn't of late age. He was only 52. Like he was only a young guy, and then you just think like if he was in his 80s or 90s, he's lived his life. You know what I mean? But you just think blokes like that are going to live forever, and it's just a shock that he's departed, unfortunately, and condolences to the family, his parents, and obviously his 3 children and so forth. It's yeah, mate, it's a massive shock.
I read 2 things. Well, I heard Joey Johns spoke about it, that he went to a Boxing Day test, and he said like it was a bit of a party atmosphere. It's still Christmas time and everything like that, and people are on the drink and they're talking and chattering while the game's on, and then from whatever end, Shane Warne's coming on the bowl, and the crowd just went quiet to watch him bowl. So he had the command of 90,000 people there. The respect to just watch him bowl because they knew something was going to happen. So I also heard one of the guys saying, I think they summed it up, was that the candle didn't burn for very long, but it burnt twice as bright.
Yeah, mate, he was... I heard Simon O'Donnell tell a story the other day when Warnie first came into the Victorian side. This is to do with Warnie's diet and why Warnie's eating habits and so forth. So the coach, I forget the name of the coach who was coaching Victoria at the time, but Simon O'Donnell was the captain when Warnie first came in. So they said, what we'll do is we'll go to the pub, we'll just go and have lunch and we'll have a chat with Warnie, what we expect and so forth. Anyway, the coach and Simon O'Donnell, they go for, so the coach orders, they go and get a counter lunch. Coach orders a steak and salad and so forth. Chips and salad. And Simon O'Donnell gets a Parmigiana and so forth. What do you have, Warnie? I'll have 2 bowls of chips and 4 bread rolls. Like,
High performance athlete.
High
at its best.
performance athlete, and then a couple of darts.
Yeah, and you can see just on that, and we won't continue on to it, but we need to show our respect that the impact the rest of the players talking about it. Like I saw Ricky Ponting talking about on telly, and he's in tears.
Yeah,
Michael Clarkey, and I know they were really close.
I heard an interview with Glenn McGrath, mate. He was absolutely devastated.
Brett Lee was the same.
Yeah,
they were all like he just had that impact. And Warney made some mistakes, like all of us, but he definitely owned them mistakes and didn't shy away from them.
Yeah.
And I also think too, just he come out in the media when he was in the media game saying Australian cricket should be doing this and the bowlers need to be doing that. Pardon the pun, but he had the runs on the board to say that type of shit as well.
Mate, he was... Australia's been lucky enough to have the greatest batsman of all time.
Sir Donald?
And the greatest spin bowler of all time.
Yeah.
We've been so lucky. 700 wickets for Warney. But just also, obviously, another great Australian cricketer, which we've also got to mention that passed, the great Rodney Marsh. That was obviously a shock. He'd been suffered a heart attack a week earlier.
Yeah.
I remember being at work and then found out that he was probably a little bit old. He was 74 years of age, but he was with the great Bold Lily Court Marsh. And that was just fantastic. Yeah. A name in cricket, and obviously he did a lot of things after he'd finished playing behind the scenes with coaching and that sort of stuff. So Rodney Marsh, condolences to the Marsh family there too.
Just on that, and Warney's last tweet was sending out condolences to
the Marsh family, and then 19 hours later,
and
19 hours later, Warney's passed.
Yeah,
couldn't believe it.
I still think Warney's greatest feat was how he potted Liz Hurley.
Oh mate, he's a magician.
So Vale to Warney, shout out.
One of the greatest.
Let's get into the games. So tonight, Thursday night. The champs, Penrith Panthers, taking on the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles from Bluebet Stadium in Penrith, 8:05. Check your local guides. Thoughts?
Mate, good. This will be a good game. I've tipped Manly.
Yes.
Only because Cleary's not playing. I'm interested to see how Sean O'Sullivan goes. There's obviously Isaac Tago. He's going to be in the centres, young bloke. He's a new guy that's coming on the scenes there. I do like the Penrith bench, though. I just highlighted the Penrith bench here. They've got Mitch Kenny, Scott Sorensen, Spencer Leniu, and Matt Eisenhuth. So I think they've got some really good punch. They're not losing anything off the bench there with Penrith. The Manly side, they've got their no-name backline, apart from Cherry Evans and obviously Turbo and Foran, but the other four, Saab, Parker, Harper, Garrick, Ruben Garrick, they're no names and they'll perform for them. The back rowers, I've mentioned Ethan Bullymore a couple of weeks ago. I think he's going to have a good year. And what's the other second row? How do you say that?
Okolatatu, I believe, but
Okolatatu.
Apologies.
He's one of my favourites. He's in my Supercoach team, and I thought he was going to be out for round one, but he's a big unit on the right edge there. So I'm looking forward to the game, mate. I'm just tipping Manly in a close one.
Yeah, I've got Manly 1-12. I think the big thing for Penrith is it's their first home game for a long while. Obviously, we know last year was all up in Brisbane, so they're coming home. They're the champs. Everyone's obviously gunning for them now to knock them off the title. I think it'll be a big crowd.
I'll be a massive crowd. Penrith, every man and his dog will be out there.
And I think with the weather as well, might suit Penrith, that grind and just up the middle.
Yeah.
But I still think the Sea Eagles to get up in a close one.
Yeah.
The other thing for Penrith, their trial form hasn't been real flash on.
No, they've been a bit shitty there too.
I think both teams will be a little bit clunky, but I'm tipping Manly 1-12.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Our next game tomorrow, the 6 o'clock kickoff from GIO Stadium in Canberra. The Canberra Raiders up against the Cronulla Sharks.
Is this do you know if it's a dry track down there? They had any wet weather, you know?
Where hasn't had wet weather?
Well, I suppose so. That's right, from top to bottom. A couple of interesting ins here for the Raiders. They're named James Schiller in the centres.
Yes.
Obviously ahead of Croker. I've got no background on him at
I've got
all.
a couple of little things on him.
Yeah.
He's Brett Mullen's nephew,
Okay.
so he's probably from a good pedigree there.
Yeah.
And he also come through the St George Illawarra Dragons system. He played New South Wales Cup there last year.
Another one we've let go.
Yes.
So, and the replacement halfback. So, obviously, Jamal Fogarty from the Titans was the big key signing there for the Canberra Raiders this year with Ricky. And he's out for a few weeks. And they've brought a young bloke in, Ben Schindler.
Yes.
Schneider. Ben Schneider. Brad Schneider. I'll get it right eventually. Interesting to read during the week, the Tigers offered Jock Madden, who's playing reserve grade for the West Tigers. They contacted Ricky and said, hey, would you like to borrow this bloke? Anyway, they're going to give this Brad Schneider a run, see how he goes. So he's obviously come through the Raiders system.
Yes.
I've got to make mention of the Raiders bench here. So a bit like Penrith. Tommy Starling, who I think is an absolute star.
Yes.
Emma Gula, Adam Elliott, and Corey Horsburgh.
Yeah. I like Corey Horsburgh.
Good punch off the bench. Adam Elliott will be out to prove something.
And not only that, with off the bench there, they bring Hodgson off, put Starling on, and then they bring Hodgson back on, and he can play that lock type of role as well.
Yeah. So they got. I like the Canberra pack and obviously the Canberra bench.
I think Fogarty's going to be a big out because we've trained all off season with him at halfback and steer him around the park, and he'd take a lot of pressure off Jack Wyden. And
you can see
round one he's out.
You can see Ricky's game plan. It's just forwards.
Yes,
because they've got a good pack, and then they've named forwards on the bench, so they're obviously going to try and take them on up the middle. A couple of Cronulla I've highlighted here. Ronaldo Mulatalo in the centres.
Yes.
So that's a bit of a surprise because he's always been a winger. Obviously, they've signed Matt Ikavalu from the Roosters, so he's got to fit in there somewhere.
Well, he just scores tries for fun, so...
So Ronaldo hasn't normally played in the centre, so I'll be interested to see how he marks up. I don't see these centres being too dangerous.
I think if they get early ball, it's going to be the thing for them. They can create something out of nothing. You have a look at Mulatalo last year on the wing, whether he can bring that one in.
Let's see how he goes defensively.
Yeah, that's going to be probably the biggest thing.
Because I know, like, even players, when you look at the Hammer from the Cowboys, they tried to play him in the centres and he was lost because defensively, you take him away from the stripe on the sideline and he's buggered. The Cronulla pack, I guess, the one I looked at there, Toby Rudolph, who had a big year as a lock forward, he's obviously still playing in the middle there. They put him up to front row. And they've got on the bench Aidan Tolman, Royce Hunt, and Andrew Fafita.
Well, they're all full forwards there. Talakai is a forward.
Talakai is a forward too. So you can obviously what Fitzy's obviously going to play, try and play him up the middle.
He's going to play his style, isn't he? The no nonsense, just bash type of thing.
So obviously I can see Finucane's the lock forward there for the Sharks, so he'll be good for them. Let's see how Nicho Hynes and Matt Moylan go together for the first time.
I actually think they're named incorrectly. I think Matt Moylan should be the 7 and sort of play that Benji style that Benji played of old, where more controlling the game and not trying to do the flashy stuff.
Yeah.
And then let Nicho Hynes run a bit wider. I think they've I know halves now play left and right, but I think Nicho Hynes needs to be a bit wider if they're going to play with that sort of 6 and 7 style.
Who's your tip, mate?
Sharks 1-12.
Yeah, I've got the Sharks 1-12 as well.
Then the 8 o'clock game on Friday night for all our Brisbane supporters. Brisbane Broncos up against the Rabbitohs at Suncorp Stadium.
This will be a big crowd.
This will be a big crowd. It's interesting to see. I don't know if you saw the photos. Suncorp looked like the Olympic swimming pool about a week ago. So hopefully the groundsmen up there have sorted that out.
Couple of things I've just highlighted here for the Broncos. Obviously, we spoke earlier about a big out there of Adam Reynolds. Albert Kelly comes in to fill in his role. On the wing, they got that Selwyn Cobbo. I do like him. I watched him in the Queensland Cup Grand Final. Not sure if he's a winger though.
I think he might end up playing a bit of fullback.
Yeah, he could be on the. He could. Well, you could be. That could be the old switcheroony there.
Yeah.
Asako on the wing and Selwyn Cobbo to fullback. So that could be. You could be on the money there. Number 17, Tyrone Roberts. Is that the former Newcastle and Titans halfback?
I'm not too sure.
But I just thought that was interesting because he can obviously play a bit of spine there. But they've named him as a bench player.
I think, for me, Tony Staggs is a big in. He's had some injuries the last few years, but he is a gun. My concern is around their halves with Albert Kelly and Billy Walters. Obviously, Adam Reynolds is going to come back, whether it's next week or the week after. And one of these guys, or Tyson Gamble, will fit into that number 6 role. Are these two going to be playing selfish to win that number 6 role over? Similar to a trial that, hey, I'm just playing for myself because I want Kevy to notice that I'm going to be the number 6, or are they going to combine to steer the team around? Yeah,
I'm not sure. Have you seen this front rower for the Broncos? Is it Palacia? Palacia? Have you seen him?
No.
No, I haven't either, mate. I'm interested to see how he goes. The Rabbits, mate, they got you can obviously see Jason Dimitri, I think, is going to play him in the forwards.
Yes.
Because they've got a really, really good pack. Same again on the bench, the 4 forwards. They've apart from Cody Walker, obviously Alex Johnson is a known player there in the backs there for the Rabbits, but the rest of them, mate, they're all young blokes. It's not an expensive back line. Okay, Latrell's still to come back into that back line. He'll obviously slot into fullback, and Blake Taff, someone's going to miss out there, but it's not a big money back line.
No. I think Cody Walker's going to have to do it all, which we've mentioned before on our podcast. Big time. But it's good to see Tane Milne back there as well.
Yeah, he hasn't let him down in the past. So he's had a few clubs.
I got Rabbitohs 1-12.
I think this will be a big score. I can see how this game's going to play out. Half-time's going to be close. Half-time, the Rabbits might go in 12-10 or 16-14 or something like that. And then after about 60 minutes, the Broncos just capitulate. Well,
we mentioned last week that the senior players of the Broncos are already complaining that they're training too hard, so that'll be interesting to see.
I'm going to have South at 13+.
Saturday, 3 o'clock at the Grand Old Sydney Cricket Ground, the Sydney Roosters versus the Newcastle Knights.
There was a lot of people tipping the Roosters to win the comp in 2022, and they've got a really good, strong team name this week. Connor Watson's back for them. He's named at hooker. They've got a good bench. Siwa, Nate Butcher, Fletcher Baker, Andrew Hutchinson, who had a big year last year, filling in the halves. But they got some talent, mate, right across the park. They got talent all the way through. Got a good forward pack, strong. I see them being too strong for Newcastle. I think this will be a bit of a bash up.
It's good to see Luke Keary back, and
yes,
he'll make a huge difference. And I think he'll complement Sam Walker and take a lot of that pressure off him. Drew Hutchinson did a great job last year, but all respect to Drew Hutchinson, he's no Luke Keary.
No, absolutely not. He's just a fill-in. I'm concerned about the Newcastle bench. Phoenix Crossland, Mitch Barnett, Leo Thompson, and Jaira Momasia.
Just back on the Roosters, it's interesting. Well, it's good to see Billy Smith, who they've got some big raps on, starting in the centres, and Paul Momorowski, who is a known centre
on the wing,
and he's won back-to-back comps playing in the centres.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see, and he won't let you down. Great defensive player. But yeah, it's just interesting to see.
I thought
he's going to fit into there.
I thought Kevin Aguama might have been a start there because the Roosters signed him, and I thought he might be the winger there for them. But
and even Adam Kerrigan, who played in the centres last year,
he's named at number 22.
Yeah, who did really well in the centres. So it's going to be interesting to see how the halves go for Newcastle Knights. I know Joey Johnson's got big raps on Adam Clune. Up there joining the club. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see.
I'm interested to see how much ball Dane Gagai and Bradman Best get in the centres.
Well, especially too, and everyone plays that sweep fullback play.
Yeah.
Where you want Ponga either giving early or just putting the foot down and going through the hole.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting to see. But I'd give them to early ball, take them on, and do your best type of thing.
Big loss for the Knights there is Daniel Saifidi.
Yes.
He's a big loss. Obviously, Jacobs, they're now starting front row, so they're going to lose a bit of depth there. I heard Dan Ganane, this young young winger for the Newcastle Knights, Dominic Young.
Yes.
Hands of stone.
Really? Couldn't catch COVID?
I don't think so. That's what he called him, the hands of stone, Dominic Young.
They do have a good forward pack, the Knights, though, still. Question mark, though, about Kurt Mann playing lock.
Yeah, I would have thought they would have had a better lock forward.
Well, even Mitch Barnett, I think he can fit into that lock position.
I would have thought so too, mate. I'll have the Roosters at 13+.
I got the Roosters 1-12. I think it might be a bit closer than people expect. 5:30 on Saturday from Sunshine Coast Stadium. The New Zealand Warriors up against the St George Illawarra Dragons.
I just wanted to point out in the Warriors, if you haven't got a hyphenated name, there's 5 of them there.
Yes.
Chanel Harris-Davida, Dallin Watani Zalesniak, Adam Fanua-Blake, Ben Murdoch-Marcella, and then at number 22, Pride Pedersen-Rabadi.
Right, yes.
It's the team of the hyphenated names.
Yes.
Mate, I'm going to tip the Dragons. I know in years gone by the Warriors have had us had the wood on us. Inclusion there of Sean Johnson back. He'll obviously steer the ship. There's a couple of young blokes there named in the centres. They got a good forward pack. The Warriors, Josh Curran, Katoa, Yui Aiken there in the second row. Chaz DeVita off the bench. So they'll go right. This will be a close game. This won't be too many points, I don't think.
I think also too, Reece Walsh is a big out.
Yeah, of course. He's electric there for him.
So he a lot of attack comes from him.
Yeah.
Shawnee Johnson, I think he just hits different in the Warriors jumper.
Yeah.
I think he'll go well there.
Obviously, the attack's going to be around Sean Johnson and Cody Nikorima in the halves.
Yes.
So with the Dragons,
just a quick tip, and this isn't my best bet. Wade Egan, anytime try score.
Yeah?
I don't know what he's paying, but he does get over.
He's a bit like the Cheese.
Yes.
Cheese is. I've got him in my multi this week to score, but you're right. Wade Egan, yeah, he does like. Good to see Jack DeBellum in the starting there at lock forward. Aaron Woods is the starting front row with Blake Lowry, so he's obviously impressed. Dragons have got on the bench Moses Mbai, Francis Molo, Josh Kerr, and Jack Gowalski,
who went really well in the trials.
He did go well, mate. He was impressive.
2 interesting outs. Tarek Sims and George Burgess.
Yeah, so both have been named
New South
in
Wales
reserve
Cup.
grade. Saints have got plenty of depth there. I really like what they've got in the way of depth. Saints have named 24 players there. And there's still, obviously, Sims and Burgess are playing reserve grade, but Bud Sullivan's not there as yet either. He's still out injured. And Maxi Fegai, he's still injured too. So there's plenty of options there. Obviously, Moses is playing as the number 14. He's going to play that role. He might come on and give Andrew McCulloch a spell and go play a bit of dummy half and give him a bit of option. But I like the look of it. I like the look. I was always on Cody Ramsey. I didn't think he was going to. No, not the fullback, but even on the wing. He just doesn't impress me on wing. But mate, over the 2 trials that he played, he absolutely killed him. I thought Tautau Moga might have been a star there because he's a bigger body, brings the ball back with quality. But Cody Ramsey's kept his spot there. I'm gonna tip Saints 1-12 in a close one.
I think too, just on Saints, it's good to see that they stuck with Junior Amoni at 5'8".
Yeah.
His first trial he was a little bit hesitant, I thought, but his second one he come into his own. He's got a good combination with Sloan.
Yeah, I wanted Jack Bird to play 6, but mate, his trial form has been outstanding.
But then and Mbai can come on. It might even be that Benny Hunt goes to hooker and Mbai comes on at halfback.
That could be the case, yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, I've got Saints 1-12 as well. And then the 7:35 game on Saturday night from CommBank Stadium.
Why is this game at CommBank Stadium?
Because part of the West Tigers deal, I believe. West Tigers up against the Melbourne Storm.
Why would you take a home game to CommBank Stadium? Particularly Melbourne, like.
Show me the money.
I know, mate, but what? Okay, Melbourne probably haven't got a big following and big numbers to bring, but mate, Saturday night at Campbelltown or Saturday night at Leichhardt Oval, like.
Yeah.
Justin Pascoe, please, like, you're crying out, mate. It's going to be like a pimple on a pumpkin out there at Combank Stadium.
Yeah.
I like the look of the Tigers' backs. I look at their squad. They've got Dane Laurie, David Nofaluma, James Roberts, Oliver Gildart, Kenny Mamola, Jackson Hastings, Luke Brooks. Not a bad back line. Forwards, I like their forward pack as well, but their depth. They just don't have depth. I know this week they've got Tyrone Peachy, Luke Garner, and Zane Musgrove on the bench who go all right. But once you go beyond that, if they pick up a few injuries and so forth, I just think they're going to struggle. The Melbourne side, obviously Xavier Coates is a new signing. All the rest of the usual suspects is there, but Munster hasn't been named because he's suspended, I believe.
Correct.
So they've named Nick Meaney at 6, which is a bit of a surprise. So I'll be interested to see how that goes.
I highlighted that too, but I think we all know the Melbourne system. It's going to be, you just worry about what you've got to do, and the rest of it will take care of itself. So I don't know about his kicking game. I know he played a bit of fullback at the Dogs, but I don't know about his kicking game. So is all the attack and kick going to come from Jerome Hughes?
I'm guessing so, mate. Yeah.
And is Mick Meaney... I'd be giving early ball to Justin Olam every time.
Mate,
run straight and hard.
You let him have it and he just runs through the wall and you just got to back him up.
The other interesting thing I had was 2 little men on the bench with Jaden Nicarima.
Yeah, I highlighted that
Wishart.
too, mate. Tyron Wishart is obviously a hooker.
Yes.
And played good form in the trial. And then Jaden Nicarima.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit unlike Craig Bellamy because he normally names 4 big bobbers on the bench.
Well, Nelson's on the bench, so he makes up for 2 big bobbers.
I'm not sure about this Trent Lario.
No.
His history, but it's a little bit unusual there.
I know Smith, Brendan Smith will obviously come off and then possibly Wishart go on and Smith play that lock role.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to be interesting. But I've got the Melbourne Storm 13+ in this one.
Yeah, I have too, mate. I was actually, I know it was a couple of weeks ago I mentioned about the Tigers, like first round win. But that was before Pappenhausen was named. That was before the Hectic Cheese was named. So when they looked like they were going to have Munster and Harry Grant and Cheese and Pappenhausen out, they were a bit skinny. But now that Cheese and Pappenhausen comes back,
it's and Bellamy's record, I think, is the last 10 or 12,
11 or something.
Round, well, that's between 10 and 12. Between first round wins. So the Sunday game 4:05, a game from Combank Stadium, the Parramatta Eels versus the Gold Coast Titans.
Mate, this will be looking forward to this one. Have a look at the forward pack for Parramatta. Regan Campbell-Gillard, Reid Marnie, Junior Paulo, Sean Lane, Isaiah Papali'i, Ryan Madison.
Yes.
Can you get any bigger?
Well, I've actually highlighted, it's interesting, Nathan Brown is the 18th man in that side.
Yeah.
Who is a bit of mongrel.
Yeah.
But are they looking to play a bit more expansive? I feel Madison may play on the edge and Papali'i come back into the middle.
Yeah. You could be right.
Because, I feel Madison's a bit more attacking as such, where Papali'i's a big unit.
Even they got some depth para this year, haven't they? Like you said, Nathan Brown's the 18th man. Bryce Cartwright, who did good things from off the bench.
Yep.
They've brought in Mitch Rain, who's a backup hooker. Even Tommy Opacek, who played a lot of centres last year. He's at number 21. So, mate, Para's got some depth. We spoke about it. Their window, they've only got a 12-month window. If they don't win the comp this year, I don't think they'll win the comp, but they'll be up the pointy end.
I also think it's interesting there with Jake Arthur named at 17. He's only going to play in the halves.
You can't see Moses or Dylan Brown
unless they're injured. Yeah, but you're not going to be. So
is he going to go on for they've named Ray Stone as well?
Yeah, did you see? Speaking of hands of stone, did you see his passing game in that last one last year?
So is Jake Arthur going to go on and give Marnie a break? Yeah, but he's normally an 80-minute player
80
minute
anyway. and 80 tackles type of thing. So yeah, it's going to be
interesting. He might pull a Swifty here, Brad Arthur, and he might bring in Nathan Brown
or even Cartwright.
Yeah,
you might be right. That'll be tough conversations at home over the dinner table.
I look at the Titans team. They got a good forward pack too, mate. Mo Footawaka, Aaron Clark, Isaac Liu from the Roosters up front. David Fafita. I thought this was an interesting one. Bo former, and he's kept Kevin Proctor on the bench.
I don't know whether Kevy's on the outer up there because he wasn't named like captain.
Yeah.
They named young Tino as captain.
Yeah.
So, and Kevin was the former captain. So I don't know whether he's on the outer there.
But Kevin Proctor's at 17 and Big Tino's the lock forward. But
yeah.
I like their forward pack, and that's obviously their strength. Really, really, really young spine. They've got Aaron Clark as the hooker, Toby Sexton, who goes good, AJ Brimston's the 6, and obviously Jaden Campbell at the fullback. So they've got a really young spine there. I'll be interested to see. But I'll have Parramatta at 13 plus here.
Ooh. I got him 1 to 12. I do like that Toby Sexton. He's got a really good kicking game.
You got to remember Para at Combank Stadium. They grow a league.
Yeah, I'm still 1 to 12. So then the final game of the round, 6:15, the Cowboys versus the Bulldogs from Queensland Country Bank Stadium in Townsville.
Yeah, well, a lot of people have tipped both of these teams to win the spoon, so obviously someone's going to come away with 2 points. I'm tipping the Cowboys. We spoke a little bit earlier about Scotty Drinkwater missing out, so he's named on there as number 19. Cohen Hess named in the middle as a front rower. I'm not sure. I do like the 2 second rowers that they have named as Lukey and Nanai.
Yes. I
do like those 2 guys. They're 2 young, big mobile units. Jordan McLean's named on the bench. They got a good side. I see the Cowboys winning this one. I don't know if it's a dry track up there or not, but the Dogs have named Jake Avarillo in the 7 as 7 again. He's just not an organiser for my liking.
And Burton's not either, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do there.
Yeah. The 2 second rowers for the Dogs, Jack Hetherington and Tavita Pangai Jr. What's the odds of one of these being on report?
After the first half? And throw in Luke Thompson.
One of these blokes is, one of these blokes is going to miss out next week because they'll be on report for something. They've named, obviously, the 2 new centres have come to the Dogs in Braden Burns and Brett Naden. But number 20 for the Dogs, Aaron Shoup.
Yes.
And I thought he was one of their best last year.
Both in attack and defence.
Young bloke, hits well. I just hope that he gets a shot there somewhere. Obviously Burns and Naden have got more experience. But, mate, I thought in the time of need when they needed him last year, I thought he really stood up and had a go.
I like the centres for the Cowboys too with Val Holmes and Peter Hiku.
Hiku's had a few clubs and he won't let you down.
No, that's right. So and Kyle Felt there on the wing. Obviously, everyone knows what he can do.
Yeah.
And the Hammer at fullback.
It's a good spot for the Hammer because he's not there for his defence. And he can, as long as the Hammer does a bit like Terrell Sloan and pops up.
Sniffs around
the middle. You know what I mean? If he's not going to sniff around the middle and look for the ball, but he's got to look at every opportunity. But I think the
other fullback, I think that's where Dufty's let himself down in the past. He doesn't go looking for the ball, sniffing around, looking for the offload.
Yeah.
And then again, his trial form, he missed a definite tackle that just put your body in front. I know he's not the biggest
Dufty?
unit. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was embarrassing.
Just put the body in front. So I've got the Cowboys 1 to 12.
That was embarrassing. Yep. Happy with that.
So that's our review of our preview of the game. So make sure you tune in to watch all them. Round 2 of the Women's Rugby League finished last week. We had the Knights 10, the Broncos 28. The Roosters 16, the Titans 26 for their first win, and the Dragons 10 over the Eels 0.
Did you see the Dragons Parramatta game?
In the rain?
Mate, it was dead set cats and dogs.
Yes.
And the footy was still pretty good. Like, I know there was a few handling errors, but, mate, it would have been handling errors whether it was guys or girls. It was just so wet.
I like... obviously, we've been starved of footy, but the quality of these girls, and I don't want to sound sexist, but the quality of these girls is unbelievable.
Yeah, outstanding.
I don't know, did you see the Roosters and the Titans game at all? The fullback, her name escapes me, Jess Sir just made a break.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen the highlights of it.
open space, and this fullback just put a body on the line.
Yeah, took her legs out from underneath her.
Copybook tackle. Her head was in the wrong spot, but it was a copybook tackle. Just brought her down. It was tremendous to
I seen the start of the Knights Broncos game. They come out of the tunnel. They were absolutely flying. The Knights. They were just ready to rock, and they were doing everything at 100 miles an hour. Unfortunately, they probably ran out of petrol, in the class there of the Broncos. But did you see one of the tries that the Broncos scored? Must have been in the second half. Down the right edge, and it went through the hands, and then they turned it back inside.
Yes.
Oh, mate, that was, in the Great Rabbits, that was champagne football. That was really, really good football. And the skill level was outstanding.
And round 3 sees the Roosters v the Knights, which is 5th and 6th taking on each other.
So someone's going to get a win there.
Yes. The Dragons v the Broncos, which is top of the table.
Top of the table clash. They're both undefeated.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the Eels and the Titans, which is 3 and 4. So that these could actually all be quality games.
Yeah, I think they will be, mate. They're all quality games. I had a look at Sportsbet to have a go, but I think it's too tough. I haven't even touched it this week because I just don't see anyone as a standout.
And we spoke the Roosters and the Knights. The Roosters have got to win eventually with that side they've got.
You would hope so, mate. I just hope to Christ that Isabel Kelly and Jess just get some ball.
Quality ball.
They're obviously missing Corbin Baxter.
She has been named this week, so I don't know whether she's back or not.
Because I looked at the side and she wasn't in the side.
She's been named this week, yes.
Where on the bench?
Fullback.
Fullback. Okay, righto.
So, yeah, I
think I'll tip the Roosters there.
And Dragons and the Broncos.
Oh, mate, Jesus, this is a hard game. I hope Kezzy Apps is back.
She's been named.
I know she's been named. And what's the second rower?
Shaylee Bent.
Shaylee Bent's back.
Well, she played last week.
No, what's the other?
Talia Holmes.
Talia Holmes is back. Madison Bartlett, the winger's out for Saints after a 1 week biting charge.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna. I'll stick with the Dragons.
And the Eels and the Titans.
Yeah, this will be a good game. I both see them playing the same sort of just grinding game. I mean, this will be the same again. It'll be a close one. Be like, I don't know, 10-8, 10-6, something like that. It won't be big scoring.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of points in either team.
So that wraps up our women's rugby league section. Each week we pick our favourite player of all time from a certain club. This week, the West Tigers. West Tigers only.
Mate, my favourite, if you look at the West Tigers over the years, there's a couple of names synonymous with the West Tigers, but the greatest is obviously Benji Marshall.
Benji, yes.
He was just, mate, he put bums on seats. He was, we spoke about Shane Warne before, mate. People would just, a Friday night game, just to see the Tigers play. I mean, they would have been the biggest draw card, and obviously because of Benji.
And you look at, and speaking of Warney, that when you're a kid in the backyard, you try a leg spinner because you wanted to be Warney. When you're a kid in the backyard playing footy, you put the big step on because you want to be Benji.
Well, so many times I've seen it. Benji played Friday night, and then the junior kids at the footy the next day, they wanted to be Benji Marshall. Everyone wanted to be Benji Marshall. And, mate, he was from the 2005 grand final. I remember that one, and there was a game, I think it was 2009, Tigers played Para at the football stadium. Tigers versus Jared Hayne, and it was just Benji versus Jared Hayne. And it was just, mate, he's a phenomenal player. And West Tigers, he's the number one West Tiger.
You look at that, and it's been shown 1,000 times, that game at Cronulla.
Oh,
He was only a young kid. Step, accelerate, step, the no-look pass, try.
Yeah.
Like, that's just
phenomenal. His highlight reel, mate, is just,
I couldn't split two players.
Okay.
Terry Hill
for the West Tigers.
He played for the West Tigers.
I know he played for the West Tigers.
I know he's probably more of a Manly man.
I would have said he was a Manly.
I couldn't split him. He was good, and he was good for a sledge, which I'm a fan of sledging.
I know you're a gold medalist sledger.
He was good for a sledge, and the other one also probably more known at Manly, the great Hopper.
John Hopper Waddy.
The great Hopper.
As a West Tiger.
Yes.
I think he did his most damage there at the Tigers.
Yes. And he got his degree as well there at the Tigers. So I couldn't split them two. But yeah,
Wow.
Benji's certainly up there.
I could have had 100 picks and I wouldn't have picked them two.
No. Our Would You Rather section, where we put two lots of skills up against each other. The Hazem El Masri, he's defending champion. He's been for a few weeks. Or a Greg Inglis fend.
Wow, two completely different players, aren't they, mate? Greg Inglis fend, he did have the best fend in the game, Greg Inglis, because he was so strong.
I used to like GI's fend. He'd carry the ball in the left hand and palm across his body with his right hand and still fend you off. So he's palming from right hand, left hand, across his body and bump you off. Yeah,
you know, he was one of the best attributes at the fend, but I'm going to stick with Hazem El Masri as playing on, because he was just so important. Like I spoke about in weeks gone by, he was just give you 6 points. He was so important.
If anyone thinks they can beat Hazem El Masri's goal kicking, please write in on our Facebook page, and we'll put him up against, because he's going to be tough to beat, I think. So our encyclopedia of players, here it is. Our 1995 encyclopedia of rugby league players, every premiership player. Last week from page 100 we had the great Laurie Daly. Please pick a page between 2 and 504.
Let's go to page 77.
77. Great year for the Dragons fans.
Yes.
77, up near the front again.
17-13.
We're in the C's.
Who have you got, mate? Who have you chosen? Who have we got to choose from this week from the encyclopedia?
Gordon Clifford.
Gordon Clifford, what year?
Newtown Jets, 1951 to 1958, 114 games.
Wow.
Eastern Suburbs, 1960, 6 games. New South Wales, 1957. Australia, 1956-58, 8 tests. Goal-kicking fullback, had a long career with the Blue Bags, including 2 grand final losses to South in 54-55, before breaking into Test football in 56. Clifford was a popular choice on the 56-57 Kangaroo Tour after playing against New Zealand that year and appeared in 14 matches on tour. Top scoring with 94 points. When Clive Churchill was injured in the first test against Great Britain on tour, Clifford played in the remaining tests against Great Britain and France. He made only 1 appearance for New South Wales in 57 and played in 1 more test against Great Britain in 1958.
I was going to say he must have been a star to play for Australia, because obviously Clive was around that time.
Yes.
54 and so forth, but just he would have played with not necessarily at Newtown, but geez, he would have played in an era of some great players around those mid 50s there, mid to late 50s.
Yeah. So
obviously the start of the St George dynasty around that, but
South, all
that's
them
right.
type of things.
And obviously the first lot of grand finals came in around that time. But he must have, he played. He's been at the Jets there for a long time.
Yeah, Gordon Clifford.
Well done, Gordon. Shout out.
He was a 445 goals for the Jets only.
Yeah. Is that points or goals?
Goals.
Jesus.
Seven tries. Couldn't score a try. 445 goals, 4 field goals, 919.
And that was over what, 8 seasons?
Yeah.
Jeez,
and they would have been 3-point tries then too.
3-point try. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Well done, Gordon Clifford.
And our music section now, Herbie's hits. It's been big on
Spotify.
Yeah, it's been going.
We put our
big on
Spotify list together.
Not as yet, not as yet, mate. Belvedere. That's another. Add that to your list, Belvedere.
Mate, one of the greatest, and this is my my ringtone. Doesn't get much better than this. It's one of my favourites. If you want to got a bit of a lead in.
The great Kenny Rogers with The Gambler.
On a train bound for nowhere. It's not so much of a pump-up song, but everyone knows it.
Yes, it's a good karaoke song.
It's one of the greatest. You know, Terry Packer's favourite song?
The Gambler?
The Gambler.
Yes.
You know the last song they played at Kerry Packer's funeral?
The Gambler?
The Gambler.
Was Kenny Rogers live at that?
Don't think it was live, mate. No, they just played it. But
yeah, no. So yes, The Gambler, Kenny Rogers.
The Gambler. Good work there. Put that on your Spotify list,
Yes.
people.
Now, our best bet of the week. We have given our tips and 1 to 12s and so forth. What is your bet of the week this week?
Mate, I'm going to give you a 4-leg multi.
Yes.
I'm going to go the Rabbits. The 4 favourites. The Rabbits, into the Roosters, into the Storm, into Para. Last time I checked, it was $2.66.
On Sportsbet?
On Sportsbet.
Yes, so that's Roosters, Storm, Para Souths, all winning.
Yeah, all winning. Just head-to-head, $2.66. Try that one.
The more you put on, the more you get back.
Correct.
My best bet of the week is 2 anytime try scorers in the same game.
In the same game, okay.
Yeah. Xavier Coates
Yeah.
and Justin Olam.
What's that give you?
$3.50.
Okay. If you got any money left over, have a little sneaky. Anytime try scorer, Terrell Sloan.
Yes, I'm not too sure. I didn't have a look at that.
I didn't have a look at the figure, but mate, he played 5 games at the end of last year, or 6 games at the end of last year for the Dragons, and he won't let you down, mate. He'll be sniffing around. He's got a good strike record, putting tries on. But Terrell Sloan, if you've got a sneaky $10 left over on Sportsbet, get amongst it. What's your what figure is he, mate?
$2.10.
Really, he's pretty short.
He's
He's not the favourite though, either,
no,
is he?
Cody Ramsey's $1, and Ravalava or Want Bamboo is $1.67.
Rava's $1.67.
But
Okay.
Tyrell Sloan at $2.10, I might be having a little bit of that.
$2.10. Get on Terrell.
Remember, the more you put on, the more you get back, but gamble responsibly.
That's right.
So that wraps up Halftime Oranges. Thank you for joining us, Clayton.
Pleasure.
How good's footy back this week? Can't wait.
mate. Can't wait.
Don't forget to follow us on Facebook or search for us on your favourite podcast player, Halftime Oranges, or to see our heads on the telly, you can get us on YouTube. And don't forget to join our tipping competition. Your chance to win $100 Dan Murphy voucher.
Look forward to it.
As always, look short, play long.
Go well. That was good.
That one.